ドジャースがキケ・ヘルナンデス選手との再契約が決まり、いよいよキャンプイン目前となりました。このオフシーズンの補強もドジャースは大成功を収め、佐々木朗希投手も獲得し、素晴らしいスタートを切れそうです。今回は現地放送局でもドジャースのオフシーズンの経過について詳しく説明している番組がありましたので翻訳してお届けいたします。
So earlier in the show, Joel Sherman gave us his biggest question marks heading into spring. The Dodgers get their own separate list, just cause. You know why. Joel Sherman, good Monday morning again to you. At the top of it is the plan for Shohei Ohtani. Perfect world. What does this year look like for Shohei, Joel?
Yeah, you know, they get their own list because they'll never say it out loud, but they think they've already clinched the NL West. So they're thinking October in February and March and April. So the question is, how do you get Shohei Ohtani through October to be part of that rotation? And so I think there's a little track record here. He made 23 starts for the Angels in 2021 coming off of Tommy John surgery. So say you limit that to 20, thinking he's going to get other starts. That probably puts you mid-May, maybe the 1st of June as that. So I don't think you'll see him starting games in spring training. The other thing is this guy is a real habitual guy. So I think once he starts, he doesn't want to do a start and stop. And so therefore, I think, and then the question becomes, how do you rehab a guy who's in your starting lineup every day? It isn't like you could send him out on assignment. I expect to see a lot of Rancho Cucamonga Quakes coming up to Dodger Stadium. There'll be a bunch of simulated games, and they'll try to get him ready. Let's not forget that at the end of last season, the Dodgers were weighing whether to make him available as even a relief pitcher in the postseason. He was throwing 93 with a split. So they feel he's a healthy pitcher going into now, but they are slow playing this so that he's an October starting pitcher.
Come up and face Shohei. Have fun. While you're here, all the arms allow him, as you said, Joel, to kind of ease into it. Who's playing shortstop? I saw, and Robert and Harold reported, Kike Hernandez back with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Who's at short this year?
Well, Mookie Betts played 61 games there last year, kind of almost out of emergency. If you remember, Gavin Lux had some throwing issues in spring training, and Betts said, I'll do it. He wasn't real pleased with how he did it. And anybody who knows Betts, he's kind of fanatical about doing things well. I've heard he's really going at this. High schools in Los Angeles, then down to their facility in Arizona, working with Chris Woodward. Harold would probably speak to this better. The key thing being, you know, an outfielder usually throws from one angle. He's been working on all the different throwing angles. And I heard he still has a little chip on his shoulder that as a young player soon drafted by the Red Sox, he was quickly moved off a shortstop. And all these years later would like to prove that he's a high-level shortstop.
The great ones are different, right? Mookie is amazing. You've talked with Dave Roberts extensively, and he always says his versatility allows him so much freedom. Mookie Betts, Roki. It's so interesting with Roki Sasaki because so often we hear about talent, right? And this guy's talent's off the charts. But before they do anything, how do we know it's going to translate? When you watch him, you just know with this guy, Joel?
Well, a year ago, he was being compared at the same age to Paul Skeens, and we saw what Paul Skeens did last season. So do you get something similar? The question is how to break him in. And again, I can't stress this enough with everything with the Dodgers. They are thinking about Sasaki starting games in October. How will they get there? Six-man rotation is going to be part of this. You know, they're ultimately going to have three Japanese pitchers, Sasaki, Yamamoto, and Ohtani, guys who are used to pitching once a week in Japan. Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin didn't even pitch last year. By the way, you know what's happening tomorrow? Dustin May is throwing a bullpen tomorrow. Tony Gonsolin on Wednesday. They're both expected to be full-go starters going into this. 134 innings for Tyler Glasnow last year, which was a career high, but then he got hurt, and so didn't pitch in the postseason. And so the only kind of fully guy who they believe can go to nuts is Blake Snell, but he got his big money, so it's a little easier to tell him he's in a six-man rotation. Then you see these other names like Bobby Miller, Landon Knox, Justin Wrobleski. At some point, Emmett Sheehan is going to come back from Tommy John. So I doubt anyone in this rotation will throw 150 innings, including Sasaki. They are, again, it's a soft entry, thinking big picture in October.
Where's Kershaw? I don't see it. I keep thinking, is that the finishing touch for the Dodgers?
But they need more starting pitching. Yes, at some point, Lauren, he's going to sign. Today is an important day for the Dodgers. They get to do, them and the Cubs get to do this a little earlier than everybody else because they're going to play games in Tokyo to open the season in mid-March. Players could be put on the 60-day injured list starting today for the Dodgers. And if you'll notice, Enrique Hernandez announced himself that he had re-signed. It had been also slow played so that they could put guys on the 60-day IL, which allows 40-man roster spots to open up. So they have a bunch of pitchers like Emmett Sheehan, who has to go on it, River Ryan, etc., who have to go on the 60-day IL. So Hernandez signed, and I think at some point soon Kershaw will. But Kershaw had both, I think it was a foot and knee surgery in the offseason because he wants to try. He had these surgeries because he wants to try. So he is a June or July issue, but at some point soon he'll probably sign a contract and begin rehabbing officially with the team and see if he can make it back to be part of that rotation in some way.
What about at the helm, top step, Dave Roberts? I remember, Joel, right after the Dodgers won the World Series, I was talking to Freddie Freeman, and he said, I hope, that guy right there, I hope Dave Roberts gets his flowers because the way he managed the bullpen, and Freddie Freeman was so emotional talking about his skipper. What is his long-term future there?
You know what's interesting overall, Lauren, is the two World Series managers, Dave Roberts and Aaron Boone, both enter spring training as lame ducks. This is the last year of their contracts. And I think both teams are going to try to do something about that. I believe the Dodgers and Roberts began to engage more seriously last week. But, you know, Roberts is looking at someone like Craig Counsell, who got the record contract, 5 years at $40 million. And I just want to name some things that Dave Roberts has done. 9 years, 9 playoffs, 8 division titles. The year he didn't win a division title, his team won 106 games, 4 pennants, 2 championships, the 3 highest win totals in franchise history, the best winning percentage by a major league manager with 1,000 games. He probably is looking at Craig Counsell and saying, like, Craig Counsell hasn't gotten a team to the World Series. He's getting this. I think the Dodgers look at Roberts as part of the machine, and that. But I think it's dangerous to think anyone could just manage what is now the new evil empire. The Dodgers are going to have a lot of pressure on them. There's been talk about them winning 120 games. It's championship or bust. The one thing you know is Dave Roberts could land the planes, and there would be some real mystery if the next person can. And so I wonder, for a team that's going to have between salary, payroll, and luxury tax will spend over $500 million this year. Should there really be a thumb down on the manager for the difference between $1 million or $2 million to get him where he needs to go when you know he could land the planes? It will be an issue heading towards the season if this gets done.
When you manage baseball, personalities, staff, it's a big-time job. Joel Sherman, how many wins do the Dodgers have this year? 105?
I think it's harder. Yeah, I think it's harder to get to that, like 116, 117. But I mean, you know, like the 105 feels like a breeze for them considering the talent level. Considering they signed someone like Kike Hernandez, and it feels like an extra guy, and he's a really good baseball player. You know, especially he got glasses just before the All-Star game last year, and in the second half had almost an 800 OPS. And I wonder if he's going to be much better doing it.
Joel Sherman.
I gotta go, Lauren. I got to get on a plane. I'm going to spring training today.
Go. I told you off.
Get out of here, Joel.
No big deal. You're making me smarter.
Hey, Joe, real quick, there's a good chance your flight's going to be delayed, so you're good.
Yes.
You're probably
clear, Joel?
I'm going to get a knapsack and walk to Florida.
There we go.
LA Dodgers are still celebrating that World Series title with an offseason for the ages. Blake Snell is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Great. We'll grab him from the rival Giants for 5 years and $182 million. Teoscar Hernandez, who always lights up a room and lights up a lot of balls. 3 years, 66 after he bet on himself on a 1-year deal. Hai-Sung Kim comes over. He can offer some defense and versatility. 3 years, 12.5. There's a relative chump change here for the Dodgers. Roki Sasaki, 23 years of age, throws 100 miles an hour, and as most Japanese pitchers do, throws a devastating split. This was the point where I started to lose my mind. Tanner Scott, 4 years, $72 million contract, one of the best closers in the game for what had been a great bullpen with the likes of Blake Trinan and others. And, you know, hey, what the heck? Let's get that bullpen even better. Kirby Yates, who is one of the best closers in baseball a year ago, you get 1 year and $13 million. And then, hey, why not? Let's get Kike Hernandez, who's been so valuable and so versatile for this Dodgers team. Maybe he doesn't play everywhere, but with this team, it certainly does. He can play literally every position for this Dodgers team, and clearly he's been comfortable there, and he re-signs the Dodgers and is able to make a little more magic for this Los Angeles team. So you've got utility guys, you've got stars. I mean, look at the versatility again to this point. Kike's played third, short, second, first, left, center, right. Just no pitching and catching. All good. Mookie, 3 positions, most notably, can play second, short, or right. Chris Taylor can play a bevy of positions. Tommy Edman turned a few good months into a 5-year deal. And Miguel Rojas can also play every single position in the infield. It's amazing to think about. Are you with me? The Tanner Scott move was the one where you go, okay, I get off. Time out. This is where it's getting ridiculous. The Dodgers are signing everybody.
Yeah, and then they followed that up with Yates shortly after that. I'm just like, what's going on here? But you know what I think I really enjoy about all this is, listen, we haven't said since 1998, 99, 2000 when the Yankees went on that run.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a repeat, right? It's hard to go back to back because you're playing longer, everything that goes on. Mm-hmm. And a lot of teams, when they win, they kind of get content. They're like, oh, we'll roll it back out with the same crew.
Right.
I think injecting life. Like, you remember one year it was Scott Brocious at third for the Yankees. Then it was Charlie Hayes. It was Wade Boggs. They were always kind of moving these pieces in. And I think when you bring in other players that are a little bit hungry who weren't there, it provides that spark. And so those other guys can kind of take their time throughout the course of the season. And now you have that depth where you can really manage your roster. Like Dave Roberts has the, the luxury now, and he'd be the first one to admit it. Like, I got great players, and how do I give them the right amount of time off? Because all the things that come with being a champion, right? All the celebration afterwards, while you're sitting there having a parade, guys are working out in the gym, getting ready for the next season, right? They're all trying to eat the carrot that you just ate. They're chasing it now. And so I think the way they went about it is pretty spectacular. Guys want to go there for not just the money. The money's one thing. You're going to get that anywhere. It's because you're going to win. You're going to get treated in a first-class way. That was the one thing I took away from talking to those guys. So good on them for doing that. They took the opportunity, and they seized it.
The bullpen was so deep a season ago. They didn't have enough starters. No problem. The postseason, Dave Roberts worked his magic, had those guys step up. Now when I look at this bullpen, I say to myself, okay, Trinan can be a guy for me. Even with the goatee, which looks like a late 90s singer. But Michael Kopech was fantastic a season ago. Yates, as you mentioned, and then Tanner Scott. Dave Roberts says he'll get the bulk of the appearances, Tanner Scott as a closer. But again, to your point, Dev, what a luxury. If need be, I've got Yates, Trinan, Kopech. All those guys can close.
Yeah, it's really quite incredible. And to have the lefty-righty combination, a la like Norm Charlton, Rob Dibble. You got your own nasty boys right now. Because like what managers try to do is find these pockets, right? Where do my relievers match up against a certain part of the lineup? And when you got lefty-righty-lefty, cool, Tanner Scott, you're closing today. We got righty-righty-righty. Guess what? Kopech, you got it. Or Phillips, you got it. Because you led our team in saves last year. Or we go Blake Trinan. And it gives the opportunity, to kind of coast with these guys a little bit and build them up. Season starting a little bit earlier for them over in Japan. The recovery of coming back from Japan, plus all the innings that these guys logged late in the season and the high leverage pitches that they threw. So, yeah, this is truly, I think the Dodgers have, on paper, and, kind of with your own eyes, the greatest luxury right now of 4 potential closers in their bullpen, and Dave Roberts be able to go to any one of those guys on any given night. It's incredible.
So starting pitching, they have the luxury of potentially 5 number-1 opening day starters. As you take a look at this list, Snell, who's won 2 Cy Youngs, Yamamoto, who could have won a Cy Young a season ago before he got hurt. Glass now has filthy stuff. Sasaki, 23, with lights-out stuff. Gonsolin, Dustin May, little Bobby Miller, little Landon Knack. Ohtani likely to join the rotation in May. So I'm looking at those top 4 guys. Who starts opening day for you?
Oh, I'm going. I want. If we're in Japan,
we're
pitching in Tokyo. I want Yamamoto in there. Let's go. Imanagi, Yamamoto. Let's get the matchup. Come on. Give the Japanese fans what they want and baseball what they want, right? Like, this is great for the globalization of the game, that you have these 2 studs at the top of their team's rotations to go up against each other. They matched up in September out there in LA. They both pitched masterfully out there, and to see them do this in Japan, in their home country, after coming over to the major leagues, I think it would be an incredible thing and a great storyline.
And kind of your point, look at Yamamoto. Was he not as sharp in the postseason? Perhaps a little bit, but still, he was a guy who was clearly effective, was able to be this best. Still a sub-1 whip, by the way, even in the postseason. Here's the thing, too, we have the Dodgers regular season. Dave Roberts can be so smart with this. You're not going to see a Dodger starter, I think, throw more than 150 innings. Right? The Japanese pitchers normally only pitch once a week, so Yamamoto's, he can go 6-man rotation. Kershaw, you don't have to pitch till July. Ohtani's not coming back till May. He'll keep all these guys fresh as much as possible come playoff time.
100%. Why wouldn't you? I mean, when you have that luxury, and in today's game where we don't, put the stress like we used to on the 200 inning benchmark. Like I got to throw 200 innings.
Yeah.
Teams don't worry about that. Managers don't worry about that. How can I keep my guys healthy so that when we come to the end of the season, September going in October, we're firing on all cylinders, And like he's got the luxury now where we were joking in the meeting, if somebody in the rotation can just go, oh, you got a cold? You feeling? We're going to give you a little break right now. We're going to slide another guy who's capable of dominating out there. So, what a super team they do have. Now, at the same time, you got to go out and play it on the field. We can write down all the players on paper, how good they are, what they did last year, and they won the World Series.
Yeah.
But everybody's gunning for them, and everybody's going to bring their best bowl, and this team will be ready for it.
Always fun to see the over-under win totals because people are saying, wait, could this Dodgers team be what?
This is incredible.
Like on paper, provided by BetMGM, you're looking at 104.5. I mean, you're talking 11 more than the next closest team in the Yankees and the Braves. Then you got the Mets and Phillies. Again, low 90s, always high 80s. 104.5 is where you're starting the bidding.
Yeah, you got a lot of like classic rock stations at 104.5. You're going right there, heavy metal. They're coming for you. Listen, I'm going to bet the over. Like if me and you are saying we're gonna do dinner right now, you want to do that? I'll do dinner. If they go over, you buy me
I love
dinner.
that. All right,
okay?
over with dinner, and if not,
if they go under, I'm buying.
And not like Tim Hortons. We're going to a nice, good steak.
No, really nice. Yeah, something like the Keg or something like that.
I knew you wouldn't miss a beat. You're taking the over. Because my only thing is that, listen, there's injuries. And plus I think this team, too, Dem, they don't feel like they need to set history, right? There's certain teams that go, hey, we want to eclipse the Mariners of 0-1 and 116. Yeah. These guys are going, hey, we're fine. We're going to coast. We got our 100 wins, won the division. We're fine.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but remember what we talked about with their depth. So when you have depth, what do you have? You have really good players on your bench. Well, those guys are going to want to get in the game and prove themselves to play. So, it's not like, oh, well, we'll rest our starters. Some of these other guys, their bench players are starters on other teams. So that's like the big thing you're going to run into is no matter who they run out there, at what position, who's on the mound, or who's coming in from the bullpen, every one of them is a bona fide Major League Baseball player and a good one at that. Right. And they have three superstars in Ohtani and Freeman and Betts. And then you got a bunch of guys capable of being all-stars and superstars themselves. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this shakes out with their team.
ドジャースの勝利数で夕飯駆け出すのはさすがアメリカという感じがして最高でしたね。改めて新契約復活選手の一覧を見ると本当にそうそうたるメンバーだと認識します。大谷選手の投手復帰、ローテーション復帰が実現する日も待ち遠しいですが、去年よりもさらに一段補強されたドリームチームが果たしてシーズン何勝するのか本当に楽しみです。キャンプイン、シーズンインが楽しみで仕方ありませんね。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。